Hello everyone. So our today's topic of discussion is ratios. So it's an important chapter whether from the perspective of SAT, GRE or GMAT. Now when you talk about SAT, the types of questions that they'll be asking from ratio are like bit different. So however you need to know the basic concept. But we'll be taking up questions on the typical type of questions that they ask in SAT exam, and whenever a question pops up on the screen that is pertaining to SAT, I'm gonna let you know that. And from GRE and GMAT perspective, this is also a very important chapter. The point is, when you talk about this chapter, the theory is very less, but the types of questions or the difficulty level of questions, it's like that's of good level. Okay. So what we'll be doing in this chapter is that we'll be first understanding how to define a ratio, what exactly is a ratio, and then we'll be solving questions on that. So theory is more or less like for 5 minutes max to max, and then we'll be simply jumping to questions. This is another topic like percentages, like where theory is less, but the questions are like more and they're of difficult level. All right. So let's begin. Let's start with defining the ratios. So when you talk about the term ratio, ratio in simple terms can be defined as comparison of two or more quantities having same unit. Ratio is simply comparison of two or more quantities having same unit. For example, let's suppose person A runs, let's say 1500 meters, and person B runs, let's say 2000 meters. So I can say that ratio of the distance covered by A to that of B, that is dA divided by dB. It's like I can write that as 15,000 m divided by 2000 m. So unit and units are going to get cancelled from numerator and denominator. Okay, that's 1500. And this will simply be, you can cancel two zeros and this will simply become 3:4. So if A runs 1500 meters and if B runs 2000 meters, then the ratio of the distance covered by the two is 3:4. Now, what do you mean by this 3:4? What does this 3:4 stands for? The meaning of this 3:4 is that for every 3 units, A runs, B will run 4 units. For every 3 units, A will run, B will run 4 units. Now, if you would have written your ratio as 1500 by 2000, that's also correct. It's not that 3 by 4 is the correct ratio, no. 3 by 4 is the simplified form. 3 by 4 is the simplified form. 1500 by 2000 is also the correct ratio. Okay. So what is ratio? It's simply comparison of two or more quantities that have the same unit. For example, I can say that in a class, there are 35 boys and 45 girls. 35 boys and 45 girls. Then the ratio of boys to girls will be 35 by 45, which can be written in a simplified form as 7 by 9. So how do you read this? You can say this as, for every 7 boys you have 9 girls. For every 7 boys you have 9 girls. This is what is meant by ratio. It's simply a comparison. You can have more than two quantities also. For example, let's suppose container 1 has 150 ml of milk. Container 2 has 250 ml of milk, and container 3 has, let's say, 450 ml of milk. Then the ratio of container 1 to container 2 to container 3 is 150 is to 250 is to 450. So I can cancel the 3 zeros, and if I divide this by 5, so that's 3 is to 5 is to 9. And I can't simplify this further. Okay, I can't simplify this further because I need a common from all three of them. I need a common from all three of them. So what is ratio? Ratio in simple terms is simply a comparison, that's it. Now remember that when you talk about this term ratios, whenever you have absolute quantities, absolute quantities are quantities which can stand on themselves. Like for example, A runs 250 meters. Okay, there are 35 boys in a class. So these are like absolute quantities. These are something which can stand on themselves, which you can relate or which you can imagine. Okay, so whenever you have absolute quantities, you will have a specific ratio. Like if A runs 1500 meters and B runs 2000 meters, then you have a specific ratio of the distance covered by both of them, which is 3:4. If you have absolute quantities, you have a specific ratio, but you can't go the other way around. For example, let's say if I say that weight of person A, the ratio of weight of person A is to weight of person B is, let's say, 8 is to 5, for example. The ratio of weight of person A to weight of person B is 8 is to 5. Then I can't say for sure that weight of person A is 8 kg and weight of person B is 5 kg. That is one of the possibilities. That is one of the possibilities. What this ratio means, how are you supposed to interpret this ratio? This ratio basically means for every 8 units of weight A has, B will have 5 units. B will have 5 units. So for example, weight of wrestler A can be 8 and that of B can be 5. Weight of wrestler A can be 16, B can be 10. Weight of wrestler A can be 24, B can be 15. Then A can be 32, B can be 20, and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. So what is the point is, if you have an absolute quantity, you're going to have a specific ratio. But if you have a specific ratio, you can't go the other way around because ratio gives you possibilities. It's a comparison. It's going to give you possibilities. So how do you solve this? So what do we do is we introduce this concept. Let me remove this. We have this concept of multiplication factor. So if weight of wrestler A, the ratio of weight of wrestler A to weight of wrestler B is 8 is to 5. Usually we take multiplication factor to be K, but you can take it to be A, B, C, D, whichever alphabet you like. So if I say that weight of wrestler A is to weight of wrestler B is 8 is to 5, then I can say that weight of wrestler A will be equal to 8K and weight of wrestler B will be equal to 5K. Now what is K? K can be any number. It can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.5. In this case, K can't be negative, but in other cases, K can be negative also. That's also a possibility. Okay. So K can be any number. It's simply a multiplication factor which will be multiplied to both the numbers, 8 as well as 5. Now, once you have figured out this, the values of WA and WB in terms of multiplication factor, then you'll be requiring some other piece of information also. Simply by converting 8 is to 5 into 8K and 5K, that won't help you. You need some other piece of information also. For example, some of their weights is equal to 65 kgs. Some of their weights is equal to 65 kgs. So from there I can say that, okay, WA plus WB is equal to 65, which means I can say 13K is equal to 65, which means K will be equal to 5. So from there you can say that weight of wrestler A will be 8 into 5, that's 40, and that of B is 5 into 5, which is equal to 25, and that's your final answer. So what is ratio? Comparison of two or more quantities that have the same unit. If you have absolute quantities, you're going to get a specific ratio. If you have a ratio, you won't get specific absolute quantities. You'll be introducing a concept of multiplication factor. And then you need some other piece of information, and then you'll solve it. So this is how you define ratios. But what you'll observe is that, okay, this definition is fine, understanding absolute quantities is also fine. How do you convert ratio to absolute, absolute to ratio? This is also fine. But when you like start solving questions, things become complicated. Okay, because this is an aptitude chapter where practicing question is more important rather than understanding the theory part. So now what we'll be doing is we'll be solving questions. Okay, now what you need to do is you need to observe how I'll be solving the questions, so that you're able to follow that same process, more or less the same process, and you're able to solve questions which you have. All right, so let's begin with question number 1. So you can pause the video and you can try it yourself if you have understood the concept. All right, let's start. John's front lawn is 1/3 the size of his back lawn. John mows half of his front lawn and 2/3 of his back lawn. What fraction of his lawn is left unmowed? All right, we'll go step by step. So it says that the ratio of front lawn to back lawn is 1/3, because it says that front lawn is 1/3 the size of back lawn. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's consider the front lawn, the size of the front lawn to be x. So I can say that x divided by back lawn is equal to 1/3, or I can say that back lawn will have a size of 3x. Since front lawn we have assumed to be x, therefore back lawn is 3x, the size. Okay, so I have front lawn, I have back lawn, I have size, how much we have mowed and how much is left unmowed. All right, let's see what we can do. So front lawn is x, back lawn is thrice of x. Now it says that John's front lawn is 1/3. Okay, this is done. If John mows half of his front lawn, so if he mows half of his front lawn, that's half of x. So unmowed will be x minus half of x. So x minus half of x will be equal to x by 2. Unmowed will be x by 2. And 2/3 of his back lawn. And he mows 2/3 of his back lawn. So 2/3 of back lawn is 2/3 into 3x, which will simply be twice of x. So unmowed will be x, that is 3x minus 2x. Okay, what fraction of his lawn is left unmowed? So unmowed is x plus x by 2. So x plus x by 2, which is equal to 3x by 2, which is equal to 3x by 2. And if you want to calculate the fraction, so that will simply be, let me remove this calculation first. That will simply be 3x by 2 divided by the total size, that is x plus 3x. This is 4x. So your answer is simply 3/8. So what fraction of his lawn is left unmowed? The fraction of lawn that is left unmowed is 3/8, and that's the answer to this question. All right, let's move on to the second one now. So you can pause the video and you can try the question yourself. All right. All right, let's see this one. So this is a type of a question which you won't expect in your SAT exams, but this is a good question for GRE and GMAT aspirants. Okay, so if SAT wants, if you guys want to skip this question, you guys can do that. Okay, but for GRE and GMAT this is important, because in case of GRE and GMAT we have that chapter number system. Okay, anyways, let's see. Either way, whether whichever exam you're preparing for, the question is good, so try and understand. The ratio of two-digit natural number to a number formed by reversing its digit is 4:7. So first of all, we need to understand what is the mathematical expression for a two-digit number. Remember that two-digit number, any two-digit number can be written as 10x plus y. Any two-digit number can be written as 10x plus y, where x can be anything from 1 to 9 and y can be anything from 0 to 9. X can't be 0 because in that case it won't be a two-digit number. Okay, now I have a number 10x plus y, and if I'm going to reverse this, this will become 10y plus x. Let's suppose if you have a number 32, if you reverse it, it becomes 23. So 32 is nothing but 30 plus 2, and 23 is 20 plus 3. So it comes back to these two forms only. Okay, so I have a 10x plus y and I have 10y plus x. The ratio of a two-digit natural number to a number formed by reversing its digit is 4:7. So I can say that 10x plus y divided by 10y plus x, this is equal to 4/7. This will give you 70x plus 7y is equal to 40x plus 4y. 70x plus 7y is equal to, okay, 40y plus 4x. I made that mistake. It's going to be 40y plus 4x. 70x plus 7y is equal to 40y plus 4x. Fine, fair enough. So I can bring x on one side and y on the one side. So 70x minus 4x is 66x, and this will basically be equal to 33y. Or I can write x twice of x is equal to y. Twice of x is equal to y. Which of the following is the sum of all the numbers of all such pairs? So 2x is equal to y, so what all can be there? So we need to make a table for x and y. So if x is 1, then y is 2. If x is 2, then y is 4. If it is 3, then it's 6. If it is 4, then it's 8. And if it can't be 5, because if it is 5, then y becomes 10, which is not possible. X and y are single digit numbers. So these are my possibilities. So I have a number 12. The reverse of that is 21. I have a number 24, the reverse of that is 42. I have a number 36, reverse of that is 63. I have a number 48, the reverse of that is 84. So this becomes 33, this becomes 66, this becomes 99, and this becomes 132. So 99, 33 plus 66 is 99, 99 plus 99 is 198, 198 and 32, 200 plus 130, so that's 330, and that will be your final answer. Interesting question, good one. This question basically uses two concepts, one is ratio and one is number system, so it's a good question for GRE and GMAT aspirants. Alright, so I hope this is clear to everyone. Now let's move on to question number 3 now. So again, like, you can pause the video and you can try the question yourself first. Alright, let's see. So 3 friends divided some apples in the ratio 3:5:7 among themselves. After consuming 16 apples, they found that the remaining number of apples with them was equal to the largest number of apples received by one of them at the beginning. And we need to find out the total number of apples the 3 friends have initially. Alright. So what can we do? we can do one thing. Let's consider the initial number of apples to be x. Okay, initial number of apples to be x. So the first person is going to have 3 by 15 of x. The second person is gonna have 5 by 15 of x, and the third person is gonna have 7 by 15 of x. Okay, so how did I get this 15? I got this 15 from here. 3 is to 5 is to 7. So when you're gonna add 3 is to 5 is to 7, oh, basically when you're gonna add 3, 5 and 7, you're gonna get 15. All right. So they have consumed 16 apples. So now I don't need this ratio as of now. If they have consumed 16, so leftover apples will simply be x minus 16. Leftover apples will simply be x minus 16. And so this leftover is basically equal to the largest number of apples received by one of them at the beginning. So largest number of apples received is this one. Now I'll have to use this. So now you just have to like cross multiply and figure out your answer. So this is 15x minus 16 into 50. So that's 160 plus 80, that is 240. That is equal to 7x. So you're gonna have 8x is equal to 240, which will give you x is equal to 30. Now in this question, what was the important part? Important part was this conversion. So if you have a ratio 3 is to 5 is to 7, how can you figure out what these people are gonna individually have? Okay, so what's happening? How did I do this? Try and understand. I have 3 is to 5 is to 7. So I have something which basically I have divided into 15 parts. I have something which I have divided into 15 parts. 3 plus 5 plus 7. 3 plus 5 plus 7, that's 15 part. I have given 3 parts to A, whatever A or the first person. I have given 5 parts to B or the second person, and I have given 7 parts to C or the third person. Thereby I got that ratio 3 by 15 into x, 5 by 15 into x, and 7 by 15 into x. That's how I got that. Okay, otherwise this question is pretty simple and straightforward. Alright, let's move on to question number 4. Alright, so give this question a try. Pause the video and try this question, then I'll be solving this one. Alright, let's try this one. So 1/5 of a number is equal to 5/8 of another number. If 35 is added to the first number, it becomes 4 times of the second number. Find the second number. Alright, so let's do one thing. Let's consider the first number to be x, and let's consider the second number to be y. Okay, let's consider the first number to be x and second number to be y. So in this case number 1, so 1/5 of a number, so 1/5 of x, that is equal to 5/8 of another number, that is 5/8 of y. If 35 is added to the first number, so I'm adding 35 to x, it becomes 4 times of second number, so this will be equal to 4 times of y. Now I just simply have to solve this. So from the first one, I'm gonna get x is equal to 25y by 8. So I have 25y by 8 plus 35 is equal to 4y. So I have 35 is equal to 4y minus 25y by 8. So 35 is equal to 4 into 8 is 32. 32 minus 25 is 7y by 8. So y will be equal to 40. Y will be equal to 40. If y is equal to 40, I can calculate x also. X plus 35 is equal to 160, so x will basically be equal to 125. X will be equal to 125. Now this is only case number one. The reason being that is, if you're going to read the first line carefully, it says 1/5 of a number is equal to 5/8 of another number. How do you know that it's 1/5 of the first number only? Right? You do not know that. So we'll have to take case number two. So I'll have to say that 1/5 of y is equal to 5/8 of x. I'm again considering that x is my first number, y is my second number. I'm again considering, okay, x is still my first, y is still my second. I haven't changed that. But since in the first statement it does not specify that you have to do 1/5 of first and 5/8 of second, so I'll have to take both the cases. Now 35 is added to the first number, so I'll have to do again x plus 35, and that is equal to 4 times y. So from the first one, I can say x will be equal to 8/25y. Let me just check my calculation. 8 goes up, 5 comes down. So yeah, x is equal to 8/25y. So I'm gonna have like 8/25y plus 35 is equal to 4y. We're gonna have 35 is equal to 4y minus 8y/25. So I'm gonna have 35 is equal to 100 minus 8, that's 92y divided by 25. So y is 25, y is 25 into 35 divided by 92. Once you have y, you can also calculate x, which will be 8/25 into whatever this number is. Okay, now the question is find the second number. Now if this question were to come in GRE specifically, because you have multiple options, you have questions in which you have multiple options, so it may happen you will have 40 as well as you will have this 25 into 35 by 92 also. So you'll have to mark both of them. If you simply mark 40, then it will be wrong. If this question comes in SAT, then they may say that find the second number if both the numbers are integer. In that case, there is only one case possible, that is 40 and 125. Again, GMAT also, they will, in GMAT we don't have like multiple choice, but yeah, they can say that if it is an integer or something, if it is a fraction, find out the value. So accordingly, you'll have to mark your answers. All right then, that's good for question number 4. So let's move on to question number 5 now. So pause the video and try this question yourself first, please. All right, let's give this one a try. So what do we have? See, so I have a by b is equal to 2/3. I have b by c, which is 5/2, and I have c by d, that is 1/4, and I'm asked to calculate a is to b is to c. All right, so I don't need d, that's good. So I don't need this information, this is not required. I just need to calculate a is to b is to c. Now the problem here is that I can't like directly compare them, for the very fact that b here is 3 and b here is 5. So I can't directly say okay, a is to b is to c is 2 is to 3 is to 2 or 2 is to 5 is to 2. That would be incorrect. Let's first understand the meaning of these. When you say a is to b is 2 is to 3, that basically means for every two parts of a, you have 3 parts of b. For every 2 parts of a, you have 3 parts of b. And in the second case, you have for every 5 parts of b, you have 2 parts of c. For every 5 parts of b, you have 2 parts of c. So the problem is, in one case I have 3 parts of b, in the other case I have 5 parts of b. So I have to make them equal. How do you do that is, whatever number is here, you're going to multiply a by b by that number, and whatever number is here, that is 3, you're going to multiply both these numbers by 3. So a by b is equal to 10 by 15, and b by c will be equal to 15 by 6. Now let's read this, what this means. This basically means, when you say a is to b is 10 is to 15, that basically means for every 10 parts of a, you have 15 parts of b. For every 10 parts of a, you have 15 parts of b. And when you say b by c is 15 is to 6, that means for every 15 parts of b, we have 6 parts of c. So now this makes a sense, right? So now you can say that a is to b is to c is 10 is to 15 is to 6, and that will be the answer to this question. That will be the answer to this question. Alright, so let's keep it till here for this video. Right, so I hope you have understood and you have enjoyed this. So if you like the video, please do subscribe to the channel for more videos and exam related content. If you have anything to ask, if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, if you have any specific question pertaining to SAT, GRE or GMAT, you can like always text me. This is my number, or you can very well drop a text on the comment box also. And if you're looking for personalized classes for GRE, GMAT and SAT, you can definitely connect with us. So thank you so much, guys. That will be all for this video. In the next video, what we'll be doing is we'll be picking up more questions. I'm left with 10 more questions for this topic. Okay, we are not ending it here. We are left with 10 more questions. So probably a video or 2 more videos depending upon how much time we take for those 10 questions. All right. So thank you so much for watching this video. Keep watching and keep learning. Thank you so much.